first team are the players, the second team the referees, the third team you need them to time the game, time the shot, record the shot, put it up on the board so everyone knows what's happening, and cheer, looking after all of them. The third team, the score table officials.
There's nothing worse if you're refereeing a game and having a score table that is inept. To have an up and running U-Butte score table is just so much help to the referees, you can't describe it.
Avis Scullin, in my eyes, has been the doyen of the score table both in Victoria and across even in Australia.
I only ever played netball and tennis at school. I never went any further than that. But once the oldest child started playing football, everyone just automatically followed.
When we started secondary school, sports teacher was a Canadian, Fred Valère, and introduced the game, and I think sort of loved it ever since then. It was, yeah.
We were playing at Owen Park, and every Friday night she'd load us three into the car, and then she'd do the run around Northcote and Thornbury, picking up the rest of the team into the station wagon, and then down the freeway, and then down Hoddle Street to the basketball. And she didn't do that once. She did that for every game of the year because she was the only parent that would go. And then on the way home, everyone got dropped off outside their homes, and she'd sit there, watch them go in, and then she'd go to the next house.
I had 7 kids in that car. That was my involvement initially, and then I started taking notice. Then I decided that if I was sitting there, I might as well know what I was looking at. So I read the rules, did a referee's course, and then started doing score table.
I had a decent sort of hand in seeing that Avis run the show, and that was a stroke of genius because she did a marvellous job.
We decided that the referees had their VBRA, the coaches then had a small group, so why shouldn't we? So we wrote a letter to the president of Basketball Victoria at the time, suggesting that it would be a good idea to have Victorian Basketball Score Table Association looking after all the education for scorers. The letter came back to say that Mel Speed and his committee said no. So tucked the letter away, and that particular chairman didn't stand the next year. A guy called John Maddox came in, so I sent the same letter off to him and came back with a yes, I think that's a good idea. We had a meeting, we formed a committee, we got moving.
I tell people that I taught her out of school. People who know, I said, oh no, I taught Avis Scullin out of school. She came to our first game, I said, yeah mum, you just sit over there and write down a 2 if we score, all right? And that's it. And she went and took it way further than that.
Took it a step further.
Yeah.
This is sort of a separate thing that mum does. The family's involved in it, but it's mum's little getaway.
Tuesday she comes to my place and picks up Amy and Sean and takes them to MSAC
Scoring.
for them to score. So she's got my kids as scorers. Basketball, that's a passion for her. That really is. She loves the involvement.
In the early days, it was, I think you used to just often grab just anybody who's walking past to sort of become to sit on the score table for you. But as the competitions became more professional, so did the score table people as well. Avis was really responsible for getting the Victorian score table up and running.
Once she had established such a firm platform for score table in Victoria, it was evident that she could do the same anywhere she went. All other states in Australia needed to catch up as far as score table abilities were concerned, and Avis was the obvious pick to do that.
A few weeks later, I had a call from Ron Burgess to inform me that I was going to Adelaide in the Easter tournament to set up a score table association. And that was a moment as well. Where do I go from here? We wrote a manual of of what the score table should be doing, the positions, description of all the positions. It was nothing from FIBA. FIBA didn't have anything as far as descriptions of what score table officials should be, how it should be run. So we were first.
I think because she's so high up, and I think she just likes telling people what to do.
Yes.
She likes being right, which is most of the time, and she'll tell you that. Like all the rules and everything like that. Mum knows them. And if somebody questions them, she'll just look at it, shake her head and goes, I know what I'm talking about, I'm right, you're wrong. And that's it.
How many times did she let us down? Just never. She'd always just do her absolute best for whatever we wanted.
We had no money as kids.
No.
We had a great time though as kids. But God, we got in a lot of trouble.
5 boys. 1 girl who ruled the roost. Marlene was the boss. But they had uncles. They were lucky. They had close family around.
Growing up without a father, Mum just did so much for us as kids. Nothing was ever too hard for Mum to do for us. If it was physically possible, not a problem. She'd just say, yeah, all right, when do you have to be somewhere, or what do you want to do? Are you doing this, that? It doesn't matter what it was. She was just always there for us.
The winner is Sydney, Australia.
We received a letter from a score table official in England who offered to come to Australia to teach us how to become international score table officials. Offer was passed to Bill Mildenhall. Bill contacted me to say, well, should we accept the offer? And this woman was pretty well putting out what we did at level 1 as being their level 3. So of course I said to Bill, hey, we don't need it.
We know more than they do anyway, so what are they going to be coming out here for? I mean, it's a massive appointment for those people as well, and so to get to the Olympics is a huge thing, and so they're very much on show, and they're pretty determined to make sure that they do it correctly. I mean, the best method of assessing, I guess, performances is if there are no screw-ups during the game or no stuff-ups, and I can't remember any of those things happening in Sydney. From my experiences, the Australian score table people are really the best of the best.
I was informed by the Secretary General of FIBA that the Australian score table officials were as good as any in Germany or Spain, and they were considered to be the best in the world. So we joined the best in the world.
Why did you decide to be a single mother?
Because their father became an alcoholic, and you can't live with alcoholics.
There was an old car in the backyard. Apparently he was sleeping in the back of it.
And Mum crept out and saw that he was asleep in the back and called the police. And then they walked him through the house, and he stopped in the lounge room and said, boys, and the policeman just said, keep going. And that's the only word I ever heard him spoke. He said, boys, and that's all I ever heard from him. And I don't care. We talk about how much we love our mum, and he bashed our mum.
I was probably maybe 6 years old. And the old man came to the house one night, and Mum had a kitchen carving knife. And the old man walked in the house, drunk, and I was standing behind her, and she just looked at him, put the knife up against his stomach, said, you take one step more, and I ran this through you. He just looked at her, turned around, walked out the house and walked left. She would have done it.
Mm.
She would have stabbed him. Because as far as she was concerned, her kids were in that house, and he wasn't coming in drunk. Because he was violent. And that's why she left him. So she packed up 6 kids, left him, and came down to Melbourne.
A lot of my best friends at primary school, the mums were all stay-at-home mums. And Mum was out to work mum, simple as that. You got to remember, back in the 60s and 70s, there was no dole, there was no payments. Mum didn't work, we didn't eat. So she had to work, and she always did.
That's the sort of woman she is.
I was inducted into the Basketball Australia Hall of Fame in 2007. Yeah, that was special.
Well, she got a letter from John Howard saying that she's going into the Australian Basketball Hall of Fame. And she showed me, and I thought, yeah, okay, no, fair enough, about time, yep.
You would have to be blind not to see the impact that Avis has had on score table officials throughout the nation.
How we feel about it, happy that she's done it, very proud of what she's achieved.
If Mum's going to do something, she's going to do it well.
Yes.
Yeah.
She'd never let you down.
If you need her, she'll be there.
Yeah, she'll give you everything she has. No doubt about that.
Lovely person who calls a spade a spade. That award was well deserved.
What would you say your greatest achievement is?
I have 22 achievements, way above basketball. I have grandchildren, children, and some very good friends.